Episode 211, 5 Rules of Happiness.
You're listening to the very best podcast in the world on health, wealth, and happiness. Please remember to leave a review and share with all your friends and family. And here is your host, Lars Hilser.
And we are back, totally aware and effective and efficient. Welcome to the very best podcast in the world, your only source in the universe for personal supremacy through health, wealth, and happiness. Now, why the reference? Because on Friday, the exercise was about efficiency and awareness and how a higher degree of awareness can increase your efficiency. So if you haven't listened to that, do so. The feedback was incredible about people going like, yeah, well, duh. But they were like, duh, and I'm going to apply it more. Now, if you listen and hear a fly humming in the background, Stevie left the door open, the fly screen, earlier today, and that led to a lot of critters in the house. And so my apologies for that. I'm just now following it, ready to go and swat it because I've been getting on my piss for half the day. But that being said, today's episode, 5 Rules of Happiness, not before we do our housekeeping though. So number 1, housekeeping rule, views my own, yada, yada, yada. Number 2, sharing is caring. If Friday's episode about efficiency and awareness may not have been that interesting to you personally because you are 110% efficient in your day, which most of us are not, then perhaps there is someone in your life that is only 99% efficient. So share this episode with them, please, and share it far and wide because you won't believe that, or, in the ways that you just sharing, such an episode through your social media can have an impact on someone who is just actually looking for that type of information or that type of push towards a, motivational kick they need in the behind or whatever it is at the end of the day. So sharing is caring. Please adhere to that. Now, what else? Renovation, major remodeling mode, almost completed. There were higher powers that kept me from finishing the project on time, despite the fact that the rest of the project spent north of 16 hours a day on the construction site myself. But it's going towards the end, and so there will be more time for a little bit more extensive podcast episodes that are coming in the next couple of days. So without further ado, let's run through the 5 rules of happiness, because actually when you're going to hear them, you're going to be like, well, yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory, but putting them up, sorry, swallowed on my own spit. So putting them all together though, makes you more, it kind of exorbitantly increases the amount of happiness that you're going to gain from it. So let's get started. Number 1, don't hate. I think that's pretty obvious. The moment you start hating anything or anyone, that's going to seriously decrease your amount of happiness in your life because you're going to be harboring negative energy. And that in itself, harboring negative energy, if that doesn't kill positivity and happiness, I don't know what will, right? So again, if you haven't listened to Friday's episode where we talked about this awareness bit, and went into quite a lot of detail on awareness. And if you have reached this level of self-awareness, you can actually determine When you are starting to hate or start to harbor bad feelings towards anyone or anything, right? And when you are able to be aware, you can kill it in its track, and therefore don't introduce negative thoughts into your system, thereby becoming more positive, thereby becoming happier. I hope that makes sense. Number 2, don't compare. Now, as soon as you start comparing status symbols, my dick is longer than yours because I drive a bigger car or something, you're putting yourself in a situation where you're going in a hamster wheel where you don't necessarily want to be in. And I've been there personally and experienced it, how you can get caught up in this rat race. The probably most iconic symbol of that is in American Psycho, where this whole business card ordeal happens. It's about these minute differences that you try to then emulate or improve to put yourself in a brighter spotlight, which in essence is a thing you can't win. You'll occupy yourself with that. You'll constantly be negative because you're chasing behind somebody else in a cat and mouse game. And, there you go. Number 3, don't worry. Now, of course, if you're terminally ill, there's things to worry about. But what I heard and, what I've read and what I've went through myself, there's no real reason to worry about anything in the Western culture, at least, and in civilized culture as well. There's the COVID thing, but there's a solution for it if you do your digging, and all of that kind of ordeal. Most of us, hands down, don't have a reason to complain about anything or to worry about anything. Sorry, got a little bit ahead of myself. Looking at it from a positive angle, looking at challenges, not problems, for instance, is going to allow you to slowly but surely decrease worries you have in your life. Also, another very important factor is don't live to the limit. It's obvious. Just talk to a friend who had family members that, were living to the max. They had their RV, their camper van, they had their house, they had their pedelec, e-bike things, whatever, and everything was was on credit. And now all of a sudden this COVID thing hits, and they didn't go unemployed, but it just shaved off a minute amount of money from their income, right? And all of a sudden they were starting to struggle. Right? Because they were not living over their means, but they were living just by them, and sailing a sharp wind, as the sailors would say. I don't know if that's literally translated or not. So, just being a bit more humble, stepping a bit back, not, taking every luxury of your life for granted is going to be a big relief. So, number 4, don't expect. The moment you start expecting anything from anyone, you're going to be disappointed, surely, period. Right? It's, as soon, if you put your expectations towards life really low, not taking for granted that you wake up every day, just puts you in a humble position and makes life so much easier, right? At the end of the day, I had the time in my life where I needed shitloads of status symbols and stuff like that. And I kind of downsized. Well, not necessarily in a way, with a huge house in the middle of nowhere, which is a pure luxury. But, more often than not, I'll be, running around in my tracksuit all day, and I don't know, just doing stuff that is so remotely away from what I used to do, right? But expectations are there to be, or expectations create disappointment, period, right? Because even though, it's your birthday and you expect a present, for instance, not going to be exactly the present you wanted. And at that moment, you are just going to be disappointed, right? So if you expect nothing, even the smallest thing you receive will have significant value, right? And that's one of the keys that led me through my life, really. And I don't expect anything from life. Everything is struggle. Everything's a challenge, but, we're there to face it. Number 5, last but not least, don't complain. Jesus, how am I going to put this? All day long, and being in Western Europe, I think, it's about whining and, all of these stupid remarks of people who are very lucky in life, right? Who have a roof over their head, who have, a car, who, no matter how shitty it is, but they can get from A to B independently. They have a roof over their head, which gives them shelter, and if it's a shitty place that you live in, make something out of it, right? I made an episode about home decorating and why some houses don't feel like homes a while ago. Listen to that one, and then, build your house up accordingly, to make it a place worth being in and where you feel safe and comfortable. And you don't need to go on vacation because then you'll be leaving your beautiful house, right? So all of these people, the stronger the urge is to go on vacation somewhere else, a lot of those people don't have a home. They have a house, and that's just one example. But, also, they have food on the table. May not be, lobster and caviar every night, but hey, you're alive, you're healthy. What the fuck is there to complain about? Seriously, folks, take it down a notch, right? There's so many things you cannot influence and you don't want to influence, right? So why bother? Don't let yourself be pulled down this drain. Life is freaking great. Really, really, really fucking great if you think about it, And yeah, maybe you don't get to go on vacation 3 times a year, but then again, you're doing something wrong. If you want to leave your house, if you want to leave your home, if there's a reason for it, you're living in a shitty house, not in the home. So, that's just my 2 cents. So those were the 5 rules of happiness, not the 5 rules, but additional 5 rules, which I didn't pull them out of my butt, but, they came across my path during time, and I kind of made, different lists to put stuff in. So this was one of them. In that sense, I hope you have a good rest of your Monday. If you've already had your Monday, go to sleep now and keep your hands above the blanket. We're going to be in touch tomorrow when we are going to ask the question why you are poor. Very provocative, but we'll get there. Bye, folks. Have a good day. See ya.